Welcome back to another episode of Spotlight on the Arts, brought to you by the Chicopee Cultural Council. My name is Johnny Miranda, your host for the evening, and in today's show, we have a wonderful creator and artist, Venus Zephyr. She is a lyricist, a writer, an herbalist. She is an all-around creative and a wonderful woman. So without further ado, may I introduce to you Venus Zephyr. Hi, Venus. How are you? Welcome to the
Johnny.
show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being in Spotlight on the Arts, where we highlight our community and our local artists. So I know that you are very influential in our community of artists because of your work, the things you create, the messages behind what you create. And I want to learn more about you. What inspired you to start creating?
Well, I have been an artist really like my whole life, since I can ever remember doing anything. I've also always loved plants, and my earliest memories are of making art and of spending time with plants. So those are like my main disciplines, but I would call myself an interdisciplinary artist. And as far as spoken word, which is one of the things I came here to do today, I started doing that more seriously in around 2005. I was at an open mic in Northampton, Mass. when I first moved to the area, and some featured poets are called climbing poetry, and they really inspired me. They're definitely mentors to me, and I've hosted a lot of shows with them, and they're really the poets that I look up to for the type of spoken word that I do, which is very focused on restorative justice, social justice, like using our platforms to actually make a difference, as opposed to just creating art just for myself, because I want to create art on my platforms that can actually make changes in the world, because I feel like there's a lot that needs to be happening.
Yeah, definitely. So you came in 2005. Where did you come from?
Well, I moved to Western Mass in 2003, but that open mic was in 2005, and I moved from the Boston area. That's where I'm from. Okay. I'm from like the West Roxbury, Roslindale, Roxbury area.
Yes.
So that's where I lived when I was growing up, and then I moved out to Western Mass, 2003.
Okay.
To kind of pursue being an artist. Like now I'm a full-time artist and herbalist, and when I lived in Boston, that's not what I was doing. So.
And what made you want to pursue art in Western Mass?
I don't know that I wanted to pursue art in Western Mass, but I knew that I really liked Western Mass. I had a lot of friends out here. I moved out here, and I was not self-employed when I moved out here. And as a product of moving out here, I feel like I kind of like crafted and curated my own way through becoming a self-employed artist. I've done a lot of different things as careers, but that's really how I got to becoming an artist. And
kudos
herbalism
to you.
is something I was always interested in, and I was able to study herbalism when I moved out here.
There's something out there that people should know, that artists are not just creators, but we have to have a business mindset as well.
You really do. And I definitely, I used to run people's businesses. My mom was like an exceptional business person. She worked in corporate America for like big insurance companies. So I feel like I have both. She really taught me about being a businesswoman and kind of like being a badass as well.
Nice.
Nice. And as an artist, we really do need to focus on that, because that's how we're making our bread and butter.
And with such a multifaceted artist as yourself, we have to break down this interview to talk a little bit about the different products of your creation. So let's start with your visual arts, right? Okay. We have these beautiful pieces that you have created with some abstract feel to it. They're very expressionist. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, so I do a lot of mixed media artwork, and I brought a few of the collage pieces that I do today. So these collage pieces are basically pieces of original artwork mixed with other people's artwork, collage work, words, and then I actually paint over it. So I like to have a lot of layers in the art that I create, and I like to elicit different things. Every painting is like a story. And then this is a painting, of course, Lauryn Hill. She's infamous. Like we don't.
Album.
She's like, it's literally one of the best albums of all time, in my opinion. So in 1998, when this came out, like that was like my anthem. I burned through like 5 copies of that CD back when we had CDs. And she's just, she's one of the artists I looked up to. She's an amazing lyricist. I get so much inspiration from the way that she creates art, and that's the crux
Definitely,
of that
it's
painting.
one of the best albums.
It's literally like of all time.
Winner of Grammys,
Like the
you
end.
know.
Yeah.
So definitely, tell us in the comments below, what do you think of that album, right?
I know, like
do you
the
still bump to Lauryn Hill?
Like the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, like we all still love it.
Amazing. So if anyone who has not listened to the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, you should listen to that, by the way.
Yeah, that's number one.
Amazing art, love it. Are you showcasing your artwork anywhere?
I'm not actually showcasing my artwork anywhere. During the pandemic, I have solely focused on writing and spoken word because I haven't had a studio to work out of where I'm living. So I really haven't done a lot of visual art. Some like pen and ink drawing, which I do a lot of as well. But I really focused on writing and spoken word, and that's really, kind of like where I'm moving towards.
Yeah. So tell us. I know that you started, like you said, in 2005 with poetry in Northampton. Are there any other poetry circles with which you affiliate yourself with?
I do. Well, I actually go to an open mic here in Chicopee. It happens every other Monday night. It's at Geraldine's, which used to be Poor Richards, and I think it was Max Cap before that.
Yes.
So like if anybody needs to know where that is.
Great.
But NBS Malay is the host of that. It's every other week. It just started up again a few weeks ago.
Nice.
And it's all different types of disciplines of artists. There's singers, there's dancers, there's comedians, there's poets, and it's really like my artistic home, and I really look forward to being there. And then I go to different events and open mics when people ask me to perform. But that's really like my artistic home base, and what she's doing there is really a remarkable event.
Well, I'm excited that Geraldine you consider your home base, and it's right in Chicopee Center.
Yeah, I mean it's not necessarily Geraldine's. That's my home base. It's more that particular open mic, but they're super nice there, and they really they host the space really well. So
amazing. What is that process that you go through when you are creating your poetry?
Well, a lot of times just like one thing will spark, like I'll think of a word, or it'll be a sentence, or it'll be something that happens. So like the poem that I'm gonna do today, I actually wrote in 2015. It's still super relevant. I wrote it after Sandra Bland was I believe murdered. But that's for another conversation. But I wrote it inspired by her life, and just like what the things that we need to get back to. And usually it's really just something that happens that sparks me. I wrote a new piece recently about Sha'Carri Richardson and how she was excluded from the Olympics, for doing things that other athletes do with actually like illegal drugs. So I felt like that was a really pertinent topic, and I felt like that was really important to spotlight, because I feel like these things happen and we don't use our platforms to talk about it enough. So
definitely. I think that you are on the right path, and I think that is that's what makes you a role model, right? You're standing up for what you believe in, and you're using the skills and your craft to amplify the causes and the voices of those that
I think it's important. I think it's our
silenced.
responsibility as an artist to reflect what is happening. And reflect it in ways that is not just the way that mainstream media lets us know about things, because mainstream media isn't often telling us the whole story, and or often mainstream media is owned by a lot of the same people who are creating policy and laws that actually aren't serving human beings. They're oppressive, and they marginalize and oppress people who have traditionally been marginalized and oppressed. So I think it's just important to use whatever platforms I have, whether it's visual art, whether it's herbalism. I do restorative justice in my herbal practice. I do restorative and social justice work in my poetry. I just think all my platforms, it's going to be the same.
And as an herbalist, tell us what's your favorite concoction?
Well, I mean, I love so many different things about plants. I drink a lot of like brewed cacao tea. I like take the cacao nibs and I make a tea out of it. I learned how to do that in Costa Rica from some traditional medicine people, and I drink that like every day. So I would say that probably, as I make like a shake with coconut and cacao tea and some other things. But herbalism is a pretty multifaceted career. I work with people in a lot of different ways at a lot of intersections in the world. So it's I believe that healthcare, and especially alternative healthcare, should be like a people's medicine. And a lot of the times it's kind of like restricted for like really wealthy people or people who are more affluent. And it's like herbs and plants and trees and things you find in nature, that is like the people's medicine. So my job is really to bring plant medicine medicine back to the people, and also do like restorative justice herbalism, which is like bringing herbal medicine in places where it has always been and is maybe like disenfranchised now.
So you love preparing the concoctions of plants, but the concoction of paints and the concoction of words are also inspiring to all of us.
True.
So where can people find you online?
Well, you can find me on Instagram as Venus Zephyr.
Great.
You can find me on Facebook. It's The Art of Venus Zephyr, AKA the Verbalist, because one of my friends was like, "You're an herbalist and a verbalist. You need to be the verbalist." And I was like, "I absolutely do." So she named my business that. And also I have a website. It's boneflowerbotanica.com. So you can find that on my Facebook page. It's also linked on my Instagram. And you can find, mostly on that site, you can find like my poetry and my herbal products, and then the services that I offer through my herbal business. And I'm also a doula, so I offer birth services to people.
There you have it. Any more talents? I mean, what a talented,
I do a whole lot of stuff.
What a talented woman.
I do a lot.
You're inspiring, and I know that what you're doing is something that can definitely have an impact in our community.
Absolutely.
And young girls can look up to you and know that they too can make a difference,
right, absolutely,
through whatever their craft or their profession is.
Right, and that's really important to me because I actually have a daughter who just is about to turn 13, and you know, the world that she's growing up in is really a different world than any of us have ever experienced before. So I want to make sure that like my impact shows her like you can do anything you want, and you should use whatever you do to make a difference.
Definitely. Well, we're excited to have had you in the show. I love your craft, but definitely you, the audience, deserve to be entertained by the words of Venus Zephyr. So without further ado, I will leave to you the performance by Venus Zephyr.
Okay, so this piece is called Heart on Heart, and it's inspired by the life of Sandra Bland, but it's really inspired by love, and that love is actually the ultimate act of social justice. So here goes. Hope you enjoy it. If I laid my heart upon your heart, we would instantly connect. They'd never pull us apart. It'd be this weightless concept. We would erect temples tall enough to be brute. We would curate new eyes clear enough to see through constructs they'd never really read through. Above their sky where you and I would recruit new stars and races of beings built invincible. Of love would be their incarnation and our redo. For all the lives we've not been blessed enough to breathe through. Not strong enough, we needed you. Great mothers and great fathers, role models toppled from bars because they sold weed to you. Could have been philanthropic scholars now wearing orange collars, traded in for the cell block. When we needed herstories and sheroes, we needed his ominous handhold. Restoring histories of blocks blown away because our love never invaded his gun store. Our heartstrings never unbraided the colonized core. We unlearned love to lay with being callous. To the runway, around the way, running away up in skylines higher than tree lines. To run away with hate, how my face hit the pavement. His breath got pulled away when her life was strung up by defiance. Barricaded when a woman in a jail cell tried to get away. It was a traffic stop, they'd say. When a man from head to toes is dressed for his wedding day. When our love got shot on the block by more cops. The ones that didn't hit the cell block were top dogs, who were chained to their shell tops in cultural reverb. Stop top, perp walks, bang bang, shot drops, cell towers, Facebook hours, Twitter feeds, and wall clocks. Love summits fell by the wayside because even our hearts have been bought. Commodities never redesigned the cells in our bloodline. We just forgot. That's when love had to fall from the next earth, ancestors' rebirth. Tell us well-versed swells so we would remember, so we could rewrite new stories and allegories that started with never endings and new beginnings of just how free we could get. If you laid your heart upon my heart, what we created would change the plot from sold stocks to high art. New destinies could never break us in shards. This time around, we just made it start. Helicopters in our mind's eye depart. Everything that tore us apart broke the one love from its top knot, multiplied invincibility by freedom, reclaimed the sum of its whole parts, redreamed new destinies from the ways we let go, unlearned the testimonies that didn't leave, new directions for us to grow. The breath of insistence fueled the fires of resistance. Love makes waves with her incandescent insistence of being heart-centered. Love enters. We are living bodies, but consider us soul renters, kings and queens relentless. And when I laid my heart upon your heart, this time they didn't even try to tear us apart.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I'm so happy that there are individuals and artists like yourself that can utilize words to bring a message, to impact us, that your melody, it's so amazing.
Words are such an amazing tool.
It's the best gift that we have had as humans, right? To have
words are
words to
amazing.
express what we feel.
Words are amazing, and communicating in different ways. It crosses all cultures, it crosses all boundaries. Like, everybody can understand the love of words.
So what would you tell that little girl that's watching out there that wants to write, that wants to create, that wants to pursue a path similar to yours? What would you tell them?
Well, one of the biggest influences in my life is an artist named Ani DeFranco. I'm sure you've probably heard of her because she's pretty infamous. She was the artist that gave me permission to say literally whatever, like literally say whatever you need to say. Like, do not censor yourself, because that's where you run into a problem as an artist. When you're trying to create art that is palpable for people, as opposed to creating art that is something that actually has like a deep message, even if it's alarming, even if it's intense, even if it's something that is not palpable. So I think that is what I would say to any young person who wants to pursue, like, don't censor yourself, really say the nitty gritty, the truth of what it is.
Don't censor yourself.
Don't censor
Create,
yourself.
write, and let it all come out. Well, we're excited and thankful that you were here. We would like to continue to support you. We would like to continue to see the things and the processes that you go through to continue to create. We'll have your contact information below so people can reach you and follow you. And I want to thank you, as I said before. I want to thank you, audience, also for watching. It was a pleasure to introduce to you the Venus Zephyr, and the Cultural Council will continue to bring to you more Spotlight on the Arts. And this is Johnny Miranda. I will see you next time.